another problematics. Today we're going to study about the trigonometric functions of 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degrees angles. We are just to find for the 6 trigonometric values of this given special angles. We call this special angles. Of course, to obtain for the values of 30 degrees angles, we have to illustrate an equilateral triangle. When we see equilateral triangles, their sides must be equal. It doesn't matter how big or small is the triangle. What is important is the sides of the triangle. And of course, if their sides are equal, their angles also are equally divided. Remember that the sum total angle measures of a given triangle is always equivalent to 180 degrees. And if we divide that triangle or angles into 3 equal parts, that is equivalent to 60, 60, 60. Pag nakakita ka ng itong klaseng triangle na ang kanilang measures po is lahat 60, ang tawag po dyan, equilateral triangle. And at the same time, equiangular triangle. Equiangular in terms of angle and equilateral in terms of sides. Now, to give us their sides, we have all sides must be equal. So I have 2 units for every sides. Now, for us to solve for the values of the 30-degree triangle, we need again this equilateral triangles having a 60 degrees for each angle, and the angles that is on top of the triangle is divided into 2, and now that is equivalent to 30 degrees for the other angle and 30 degrees for the next angle. And of course, we have the sides are still 2 units, and the other sides is also equals to 2 units. Then for our sides sa bottom, we have divided that sides into 2 equal parts, so they will become 1 unit and 1 unit for every triangle. We have to remember that the triangle is divided into 2 equal parts, and the sides or the line that divides the angles into 2 equal parts is one of the sides of the given triangle, which is as represented by x, or it can be an x or an h, or the height of the triangle. Now, to solve for the values of the 30-degree triangle for their 6 trigonometric functions, we needed the half triangle that came from an equilateral triangle that measures 60 degrees and 30 degrees, and of course the line that divides the triangles into equal parts obviously is that is equivalent to 90, so we have 30 by 60 by 90 degrees. That is the angle na blanco. Ang measure po nun is equivalent to 90 degrees. So their sides are x units, then the longest sides is equals to 2, and our other sides below is equivalent to 1 unit. So in this case, our point of reference, since we're going to find for the values of the 6 trigonometric functions of a 30 degree, is here. Ibig sabihin nun, ang 30 degrees natin ang batayan kung paano po natin mahanap ang kanyang opposite side. Kung nasaan yung angle, lagi-lagi po, kung anong hinahanap na angle, kung anong hinahanap na angle, yun din po, ang katapat nun ay ang kanyang opposite sides, which is equals to 1. So yung 1 po ang ating magiging opposite side, yung x is our adjacent side, and ang 2 natin is our hypotenuse now. But of course, before we have to give the 6 trigonometric functions of this 30-degree triangle, we need first to find for the value of our x. And to solve for the value of our x, we have to apply the Pythagorean theorem. So that is equivalent to x is equals to the square root of 2 squared minus 1 squared, which will just multiply 2 times 2, that is equals to 4, and 1 times 1, that is equals to 1. We have 4 minus 1, that is equals to the square root of 3. And thus, our x now is equivalent to the square root of 3. That would be our basis for our value of our x. Okay. To find now for our 6 trigonometric functions of a 30-degree triangle, we have the following. For our sine, we have sine is equivalent to opposite side over the hypotenuse. Our opposite side is equals to 1, And our hypotenuse is equals to 2. And therefore, that is equals to 1 over 2 or 1/2. That is equivalent for sine 30. In a calculator, if you are going to freeze 30 degrees, it will give you a 0.05 or 1/2 equivalent measures of the sine 30 degrees. And for our cosecant, which is the inverse or the reciprocal of our sine, we have hypotenuse over the opposite side, and that is equals to 2 over 1 or exactly equivalent to 2. Remember, pag nakuha na po natin yung value ng sine 30 degrees, agad-agad alam na po natin ang value ng cosecant. Why? Kasi kabaliktaran lamang po sila. O kung titingnan po natin yung atin pong denominator ay napunta dito, kasi since magkabaliktaran po, remember that they are reciprocal to each other. So, madali po natin ma-determine po ang kanyang equivalent values ng cosecant. So, if we have cosine, we can have our cosecant. For our next, we have the cosine. Our cosine is equivalent to adjacent side. Our adjacent side is x, which is equivalent to the square root of 3. And that is over the hypotenuse, which is equivalent to 2 units. So our cosine now is equivalent to the square root of 3 over 2. Since ang atin pong denominator is not in a radical form, so it is already the simplified form, and therefore that would be our final answer. Why? Kasi sa kanyang reciprocal, ang reciprocal po kasi ng atin pong cosine ay 2 over the square root of 3. Kaya lang pagdating dito, yung suot nun ay ganun ang magiging senaryo. Pero bibigyan ko kayo ng shortcuts po, madali lamang po. So, di po ba itong ating cosine? To obtain for the value of your secant, pag ganito ang senaryo, ang kanyang kabaliktaran is this will gives us the square root of 2. This is equivalent to, we have 3. Ito po ang magiging senaryo nun. So, para makuha po natin ang value ng ating pong cosecant, madali lamang po ang ating gagawin. Kukopyahin lang natin itong the square root of 3 sa taas. So, we have now the square root of 3. Ito po yun. Then, yung 2, mananatili. Then, yung 3, multiplied by itself, that will become 3 times 3, that is equals to 9. Then, what is the square root of 9? You have 3. You have got your secant. Now, for your tangent, that is equivalent to this opposite side. Our opposite side is 1 over the square root of 3. And for our cotangent, that is equivalent to the square root of 3 over 1. Since dito ang kanyang denominator is hindi na po radical form, ibig sabihin nun, nakasimplified na to, so wala tayong problem ang ating sagot is the square root of 3. Kaya lang, pagdating dito, di po bang ating sagot kanina ay dapat, ang sagot natin dapat kanina dito sa tangent ay, that is equivalent to, tangent is equivalent to 1 over the square root of 3. Di po ba tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, yung the square root of 3 ay kukupihin lang natin yan. Ito po yun. Then, multiply itong kanyang sarili, that would be equals to the square root of 9. Diba? What is the square root of 9? Ang square root of 9 is equals to 3. Then, yung 1, pwede po natin ilagay dito or hindi. Since it is understood na pag walang number ay meron po dyan 1. So, that would be our final answer.